Hello, my name is Jeff Mauk. This is video number 6 in a series of mine that I've put together regarding um, the object that I purchased in the year 2000, this salt cellar here. In today's episode, I'm going to try to connect the dots, pun intended, um, and explore the significance of the circled dot, or circumpunct is the Latin word for it. Think of circle puncture, and then you've got the meaning. But words are related to their original meanings and concepts. And if you want to understand the etymology and the roots and the original meanings of words and symbols, that is a good skill to acquire for understanding how things evolved over time. So how did we get here, where we are now in the world? If you look around us, all over, there's a lot of pretty bad things happening, and a lot of it is the fault of Homo sapiens people. Why? Well, I believe, many people believe whatever they want and different things. I'm not here to preach. I don't know everything, but I personally believe that a lot of what's going on is bad, demonstrably bad, is because a lot of people have been misled into believing things that have no foundation in truth and reality, for their own purposes. And we can argue, and people do argue all the time about these various things, but that is related but deeper than the topic of today's discussion here, which is the symbol of the circumpunct, what it means and what it meant in ancient times. This is my cell phone. Here is a picture from Google. If you Google the word Ben stone, you can find this object here. This is on display at the Cairo Museum in Cairo, Egypt. And if you'll notice, there is a circumpunct right in the middle, prominently displayed on the Ben stone. Another thing that came through my feed this morning, which I thought was incredible, was dated in the year 3200 AD. BC. Was a statue that they found of Ramses, and this statue had circumpuncts all over it, and it was beautifully carved, and they thought it might be carved by some kind of laser or something. That was in the year 3200. So those dots are connecting, and then of course in the previous episodes I showed you the wooden box that's on display at the Institute for the Study of Ancient Cultures. I've also explained that the circumpunct symbol in ancient times was the symbol for God. It was the symbol for eternity, for the universe, for the Alpha Omega, and also the symbol for gold. So the questions that I asked is, why is that symbol on this particular object? The next data point that we can enter into answering the question is that this box was made to contain salt. That is what the experts have told me, and I believe them. There's a remnant of a little bit of a bone or ivory or something here. Little tiny pieces still left. But other than that, it's pretty sturdy. There was once another little bar that went through these holes here. This is some kind of, this is probably iron would be my guess. This is, I would guess, also to be brass. You can see on this one here, the brass is still brass looking, and it's starting to oxidize. But the circumpunct symbol is prominent all over this object. So that was a holy symbol, it appears, if it did mean to be God and infinity and the universe, and the symbol for gold, something very precious. Now, another data point about this object is if you Google rooster in early Christianity, you will find that the rooster was associated with resurrection and the dawning of a new age. Very interesting concepts. Okay. So we have this symbol in ancient Egypt with that particular meaning. Now we also have a tradition of belief in an object called the Holy Grail, which, you know, we've had some great movies made. Indiana Jones and the Search for the Holy Grail, Monty Python series, of course, and stuff. But actually, a lot of these things can be based on true stories. In mythology, there was once a myth of the that Homer's writings were complete myth and not true at all. And then one day, a farmer, but they found the city of Troy. It actually exists. I think it was someone who went looking for it. Henry something, I forgot. It was the 1800s. He actually discovered the actual city of Troy that everybody up to then thought was a myth. So the Holy Grail is kind of like that. And I wouldn't be surprised, well, actually, there are people who think they have found archaeological evidence for King Arthur, and in that Arthurian legends are associated with the legend of the Holy Grail, which begins in the 1100s in written form, but it may have been and probably was. And actually, I've read some academic papers that trace it back, stories about the Grail to the 400s, I think, 300s or 400s, in other obscure ancient writings about an object. There's a word called numinous, which means objects, places, people, or things that are said to have holy power. One of those was, in history, was said to be the spear that is mentioned in the book of Matthew, that pierced the side of Jesus in that gospel, and that spear had power. The legend was that it had the power to change the course of world history for good or for evil. So that book is the Spear of Destiny here, which I was given a copy of this when I was 20 years old. And then in the year 2000, when I was around 50, I bought this object here. I didn't know what it was when I bought it, but upon doing the amount of research that I have done, I have come to believe that it is indeed the Holy Grail. And this is a very fine book about the Holy Grail by Karen Rails. The Holy Grail doesn't have to be a spear, but we do know that it was associated with the Last Supper, or the crucifixion or the burial. Now, a recent video that I saw on YouTube regarding the Holy Grail mentions 3 types of cups that it might have been. One was a cup that would have been passed around where they drank wine at dinner. Another theory is it was a cup used to catch the blood of Jesus after he was pierced with the spear while he was on the cross. But there was a third type of vessel that may have been the Holy Grail, according to this video that I recently saw on YouTube regarding the Holy Grail. It's probably still up. This third type of vessel would have been used to hold spices associated with the burial. Now, the first spice that most people think of is salt. So this is indeed a salt cellar. Then there's another connection to the Last Supper, is the painting by Leonardo da Vinci clearly depicts salt being spilled on the table, and they attribute that to Judas, and it's been bad luck to spill salt ever since. So if this is your first time tuning in here, I kind of gave a brief summary up to that, but all of these points can be expounded upon. I don't know if you've seen the previous videos, but thank you for tuning in. And if you can help in any way in the quest for what this object is, because I have strong beliefs that I'm on the right path. If you can help me a little further on the journey, I appreciate that. Because I think it's important for just general human knowledge to understand how these things are connected and how we got to where we are now. I believe that it's because of people believing things. Sometimes those things are true, and sometimes they're not. but the consequences are serious, whether you're right or you're wrong. So my challenge here is either I'm going to correct everybody or everybody's going to correct me, because the evidence is fairly clear to me, and I've been paying attention for years and years and years and years. And I'm still paying attention every single day. And the consequences are enormous for everybody. So if you like what you've heard here and you're interested in more, I appreciate that. Please like and share, and if you have comments and contributions, there's more information coming out all the time. Just today, I saw this statue from 3,200 years ago, or no, from 4,200 years ago, or about 3,200 BC, full of the circumpunct, and it was interesting because it was covered, and they were all covered like this, and that was on a statue of Ramses, I do believe. So that's available to see in terms of dating the meaning of that symbol. So that's all for now. I want to keep these short, and I hope to see you in the next one. And remember, if the dogma is wrong, the stray dogma might be right. Thank you. Bye for now.